This is the Maine Report, a public affairs program produced by the New England School of Communication.
Welcome to the Maine Report. I'm your host, Leah Labree, and today we're going to be talking about a series of organizations. The first organization is with the Bangor, Maine Homeless Shelter and what effect they have on our society as a whole. Today with me, I have Rowena Griffin, who is the director of the Bangor area.
Not yet.
Not yet?
I will
Okay.
be January 1st.
Okay, well,
I'm currently the program manager.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for coming here and
Sure.
chatting
Thanks
with
for
us.
having me.
No problem. So first of all, why don't you tell me what the Bangor Area Homeless Shelter's mission is? Like, what are you guys hoping to gain?
Well, we have a mission statement all written out, of course, but to simplify it, it's basically working with the community to end and prevent homelessness. We'd like to put ourselves out of business.
Okay, great. Well, why do you think it's so important for the community to help with the shelter?
Well, there's a few different reasons. Funding, most of our funding is about 60% or more from private donations from this community.
Okay.
So it's an important aspect of what this community supports, and without their support we would not be able to do what we do on a daily basis.
And what is it that you guys do on a daily basis?
Well, it's a 38-bed emergency shelter. It's a dry shelter, so that means that nobody can be under the influence of drugs or alcohol when they're there. And basically when people come in, we try to work with people individually to create a plan to help change their circumstances with hopes of getting them stably housed. So we offer case management to everyone that comes in and try to support and work with people to motivate them to change what's going on.
Okay. Is the shelter associated with any other shelter that's in the area?
No.
Okay, so you are just a privately owned.
Well, it's a nonprofit organization. Yes, we have a board of directors for our oversight, but yes, we aren't licensed. We are an independent facility.
Okay. What impact do large companies such as Hannaford's or BJ's, because I know that recently you guys were given a sizable
Yes.
check from BJ's in order to help. What impact do they have on the organization?
It's huge. The support we get from Target, Hollywood Casino, BJ's, Hannaford. I hope I'm not leaving out any of the big ones. St. Joseph's Hospital is actually huge. They do some phenomenal things for us and support us in so many ways. BJ's, for example, this check they gave us for $2,500. We operate a food pantry and a soup kitchen, 13,000 meals a year through our soup kitchen. So we have no food budget. Everything is based on donations. So BJ's actually earmarked that money to be used for our soup kitchen. So we'll be able to go out and purchase a lot of food, protein, something we're always in dire need of. So that's an amazing help to us. And Hollywood Casino is donating all the food for Thanksgiving. So without them, they're just a huge part of what allows us to help folks in the community.
Okay, and regarding the soup kitchen, do you have, when it comes, like obviously you guys have volunteers who help in setting things up and putting things together. Will some of the people who actually stay at the homeless shelter help in doing and participating in the soup kitchen, or are they primarily the ones who benefit from?
Well, if folks are staying there, sometimes they'll try to help prepare some meals with us. Generally, staff prepare meals if we don't have a meal provider. And our meal providers generally do dinners. We'd love their help at lunch as well, but it's mostly dinners. And they're phenomenal because the administrative assistant we have, her name's Christina, she's fabulous. She sets up a calendar where we have lots of providers all preset to come in, and that saves a lot of the staff time to do what we need to do to work directly with people. The guests help us occasionally, but it's not a major thing we'd require of them to do.
Okay. And for volunteers, it can pretty much be anyone who wants to help and.
Yep, meal providers, we have a lot of leeway, so, and we're always looking for people to come in and do lunches. That's one of the areas where we don't have a lot of folks, and daytime's our busiest time, so taking staff away to prepare a meal for 40 or 50 people takes quite a while. So we need more people in that area, that's for sure.
Okay. Other than the soup kitchen, do the volunteers help in other areas of the shelter?
Yep, they do all sorts of things. I mean, we have volunteers that come from Husson, from the other local universities, churches. We set them up sometimes with projects. It just depends on what we have a need for and what people are looking to do.
Okay. As a nonprofit organization, you mentioned earlier that a lot of your fund inflow and a lot of your volunteer work and your donations are essentially donations. I mean, you're helping people, and essentially you have, like you said, you have no food budget or anything like that. It's
Right.
all on donations. So another thing that you mentioned earlier is fundraisers. How do you put together fundraisers?
We basically do 2 large fundraisers a year, and one is in the fall. We just sent out our annual appeal letter. That is our largest fundraiser, and that's basically our executive director, who most people in this area know as Dennis Marble, who's set to retire on January 1st. He has been writing this annual appeal letter for probably the 20 years that he's been there, and just through his drafting of that letter, he's been able to get the donations that the shelter gets. So that's our biggest fundraiser, which really it's just a letter, but it's all in how it's presented, and Dennis does a fantastic job of that. Our other large fundraiser is our Hike for the Homeless that we have every spring.
Okay. Describe more of the Hike for the Homeless for me a little.
It's this year it's April 9th, and we have 4 different starting points: Bangor, Brewer, Hamden, and Herman, sorry.
That's okay.
And we just, people hike in and we all meet on the waterfront, and it's basically, we want people to kind of understand what it's like to be out walking. That's early spring, so it's not usually the greatest weather, and people who are homeless don't necessarily have transportation. So if you or I had a job and had to get to work on a Sunday and couldn't take the bus, it could be snowing and wet and yucky, and we still have to hike there.
Right.
So we want awareness. We want people to have understanding and be aware that, yes, there are homeless people, and they have to work really hard every day to get things to change for them.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the shelter's role in the Bangor area. Stay tuned.
Can't believe
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Welcome back to the Maine Report. I'm your host, Leah Labree, and today we're talking with Rowena Griffin, who is soon to be the director of the Bangor Area Homeless Shelter. And we're going to talk more about what the shelter has as a role for the Bangor community. So I wanted to pull up a picture of a crowd. I don't know if they'll be able to show it, but it's a crowd where you guys are there's this humongous crowd of people who are sitting together and pretty much cheering at an event. When you see that kind of support of people who come to these events, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people who come, what goes through your mind when you see so many people at these fundraising events? Like the fact that they aren't there because they have to be, or just because that it will look good on a piece of paper, but because they want to be there?
Since I've been with the homeless shelter, the first thing that struck me and continues to strike me on a daily basis is the fact that this community has such support for the shelter, and they come through for us. I mean, just it's constant. If we put something on Facebook, we need this, we have it that day. They're absolutely amazing, the community members here. And when I'm at, for instance, we had our annual celebration in September, and it was a larger event this year because Dennis is retiring, so we wanted to honor him. But we had about 300 people there, and it was just overwhelming and amazing at the same time because and the energy in the room was just unbelievable because you could feel how happy people were to be there and to support the shelter and the cause and want to be helpful, and they support us, and it was just a fantastic night. And so, but to feel that energy, that's what's amazing about it. And it's the same thing when everybody gathers at the hike. It's just a huge number of people who all are feeling positive and helpful and want to do the right thing.
So in other words, that's what makes this job worth it. It's what makes you want to get up every morning and go to the job and say, I am happy to be here.
It's that, it's the people I work with, and it's the guests that we're able to help get into stable housing and who are able to be successful. That's a huge part of it.
Earlier you talked about how you guys had only 38 beds in the whole entire facility. So is it along the lines of first come, first serve for people who come in, or do people actually have to reserve a bed in order to stay for the night, or how does that work?
If you came in looking for a bed, we would do some initial paperwork with you and get some information, make sure you're a safe person to be there, talk to you a little bit, and if we thought, okay, yeah, we have a bed available and we're going to give Leah a bed, then as long as you were following your plan and were there every night at 5 o'clock for check-in, you would have your bed every day.
Okay. Have you ever had to turn away people just because you just didn't have the room?
Yes, we have to do that frequently.
How does that? What goes through your mind when that happens?
That's a tough situation, but we work collaboratively with Bangor PD, with other area social agencies, and we do our best. Especially we work with general assistance through the city of Bangor, and we try to at least find something that we could, maybe a hotel room or something that, especially when the weather is severe, where we might be able to put someone up for a night until we have a bed open up.
Okay. Just very quickly, what do you want to see happen in the shelter for the future?
I'd like to see there be less need for beds in our facility, and that there would be more affordable and safe housing for folks in this community, and that we could help to get a lot more people stably housed. It's just better for everyone in the community, for them, and that's what I'd like to see happen.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It was wonderful to have you. That's all the time we have for today. For our next Maine Report, we're going to talk more about nonprofits and what effect do they have in our community.